Welcome to Africa Revealed, where the soul of Africa speaks through music, history, and timeless stories. In a world that moves too fast, we slow down to reflect, to remember, and to rise. Here, we celebrate the legends who shaped the continent and the wisdom that can still guide us today. From the rhythm of African music legends to ancient folktales whispered under the stars, to lessons of hope, resilience, and purpose. This is more than a channel. This is a movement to rediscover the heart of Africa. Subscribe and join the journey, because your story starts with theirs. In a world where music fades with time, there are voices that never die. They become the heartbeat of nations, the cry of the oppressed, the hope of generations. One of those voices belonged to a man from South Africa, a man who sang not just for fame, but for freedom. His name, Lucky Dube. But behind the legend lies a story of struggle, resilience, and a legacy cut short by tragedy. Today, we uncover the untold story of Lucky Dube, a story that will inspire you. South Africa, 1989. A young man stands on stage, dreadlocks swaying, his voice echoing like thunder across a restless nation. His songs are banned, yet sung in every street. His words are feared by politicians, yet carried like scripture by the people, because in Lucky's voice, they heard what no politician dared say: that we are all one people. This man was not just a singer, he was a prophet of hope. His name, Lucky Dube. But behind the legend lies a story you were never told. Lucky Philip Dube was born on August 3, 1964, in the small town of Omalo, Mpumalanga, South Africa. His mother, a single parent, named him Lucky because after struggling to have children, she believed his birth was a miracle. But life was not easy for the boy who carried this name of hope. Growing up in the shadows of apartheid, Lucky witnessed poverty, inequality, and pain. Yet, he also discovered something powerful, the healing force of music. As a young boy, Lucky joined his school choir, where his voice stood out, deep, soulful, and unshaken by fear. He was also part of a Magenga group called the Love Brothers, playing Zulu pop. Nobody knew it then, but this young man's journey to legend had just begun. But fate had bigger plans. At just 18, Lucky stumbled upon a genre that would change his destiny forever: reggae. In the 1980s, reggae was more than music, it was a weapon of resistance. The voice of Bob Marley had crossed oceans, reaching the oppressed in South Africa, where apartheid ruled with iron fists. For Lucky, reggae was not foreign. It was a mirror of his people suffering and a compass pointing to freedom. He once said, "Reggae is not entertainment, it's an everyday reality." These were not just words, they became his life's mission. Lucky Dube transitioned from Zulu pop to reggae, shocking many who thought he was wasting his talent. But he believed reggae was his calling. By the mid-1980s, Lucky's persistence paid off. His album Slay became a massive success, not only in South Africa but across Africa, and soon, his decision proved right. In 1985, he released Rosta's Never Die, his first reggae album. At first, the government tried to silence him. The album was banned for its politically charged messages against apartheid. But the ban only fueled his fire. Lucky was not afraid. In 1989, Lucky released Prisoner, and the world began to listen. The album spoke about the chains of injustice, the struggles of black South Africans, and the cry for liberation. Songs like Prisoner and House of Exile became anthems. Unlike many artists who sought only fame, Lucky's voice became a weapon of truth. He sang for the forgotten, the broken, the oppressed. By the 1990s, he was not just a star in South Africa, he was a global icon. He shared stages with the legends of reggae, from Peter Tosh's Memory to Burning Spear, earning respect worldwide. His concerts drew thousands, his albums sold millions, and his music crossed borders of language, race, and nation. But what made Lucky Dube different was not just his success, it was his message. In songs like Different Colors, One People, he preached unity. In Together as One, he rejected the divisions of apartheid, singing, "Too many people hate each other for stupid reasons." His lyrics were sermons in rhythm, prayers set to melody. Through albums like Slave, Prisoner, House of Exile, and Together as One, Lucky Dube gave courage to the voiceless. His music crossed boundaries, black, white, rich, poor. He was building not just a fan base, but a movement. In the 1990s, as apartheid crumbled, Lucky's voice became even more vital. He stood as a prophet of unity. His reggae carried messages of forgiveness, healing, and hope for a broken nation. And the world listened. From Africa to Europe, from the Caribbean to the Americas, Lucky Dube became a global ambassador of reggae. He sang in stadiums, at festivals, on world stages, but always with humility. Always as a servant of the message. But behind the stage lights, Lucky was a man of deep principles. A father. A believer in love and peace. Those who knew him recall his humility, his discipline, his unshakable dedication to truth. Beyond music, Lucky was a man of faith. He believed that life had a divine purpose. He once said, "I don't just sing. I deliver messages that come from above." His music carried the spiritual heartbeat of Africa, blending pain with hope, struggle with strength. Despite global fame, Lucky remained humble. Friends recall how he lived a simple life, far from the glitter of celebrity. He cared deeply for his family and saw his music as service, not stardom. Fans adored him not just because he was talented, but because he was real. In every word, every performance, every note, he carried the dignity of a man who never forgot where he came from. But then came October 18, 2007, a night that would break hearts across Africa and the world. Lucky Dube had just dropped his children at home in Rosettenville, Johannesburg. It was an ordinary night, until armed carjackers attacked. In moments of senseless violence, the life of Africa's reggae giant was taken. He was only 43. The news sent shockwaves everywhere. Millions wept. Tributes poured in from Jamaica, Nigeria, the United States, everywhere reggae had touched. South Africa mourned not just a musician, but a hero. A voice for the voiceless was silenced too soon. But here is the truth, though Lucky Dube was killed, his message did not die. His voice still sings. His words still comfort. His spirit still rises every time someone presses play, on Prisoner or Different Colors, One People. Lucky Dube once said, "Reggae is not just music. It is the voice of the oppressed, the sound of freedom." And indeed, his life became proof of those words. Today, generations who never saw him live still find strength in his songs. He continues to unite cultures, to inspire movements, to heal broken spirits. His music has outlived the system that tried to silence it. This is the legacy of Lucky Dube. Not just a musician. Not just a legend. But a prophet of peace. So when you hear his voice, remember, you are listening to more than a song. You are listening to the heartbeat of Africa. You are listening to a man who gave his life to remind us of our shared humanity. Why do the good leave so soon? Perhaps, to remind us that their light is now ours to carry. Lucky Dube's life teaches us this. Your beginning doesn't define your end. And purpose doesn't need permission to shine. Whether you're born in struggle or comfort, what you choose to give the world is what echoes forever. Lucky gave us his voice. His hope. His soul. Now it's our turn. But legends never die. Today, Lucky Dube's songs are still played in taxis, on radios, in homes, and on global stages. His message of unity, love, and justice still speaks loudly in a world torn apart by division. His story reminds us that greatness is not about how long we live, but how deeply we touch lives while we are here. Lucky's music is a call to action. A reminder that we must rise above hate, embrace our shared humanity, and fight for justice. He may be gone, but his voice remains. His spirit lives on. And his legacy will never be forgotten. Unlike many artists, Lucky never glorified wealth or violence. His lyrics spoke of forgiveness, purpose, and spiritual light. He was, in every sense, a prophet with a guitar. Yet even at the height of fame, he remained humble. He said, "I am just a messenger. The music belongs to the people." This was the untold story of Lucky Dube, the boy named Lucky, who carried the soul of a nation, the man who gave Africa a reggae heartbeat, and the legend whose light still shines across generations. If his story touched your heart, share it, let his legacy live on, and never let his voice fade. Subscribe now to Africa Revealed, where we keep alive the legends, lessons, and legacies of our people. Because Africa's story is not just history, it is destiny, because legends live forever, when we keep telling their stories. This is Africa Revealed. Legends. Lessons. Legacy.